I'm a bit dirty because I'm straight out of work and I'm still filthy from work, but I thought I'd just snap a quick clip of me in front of the Civic, which is now in the garage, and the process has begun. This K-swap Civic, this restoration project, kind of starts here, I suppose. You'll probably see it's got no bumper, no lights, but it's still got everything else on it. So I really need to get it emptied, get the engine bay completely clear, and get this project moving. So let's just show you what it looks like now, properly, before I get cracking. So here is my LSI D15 Civic. It is bog standard, and it came from the desert. But even without the skin on it, you can see she's a pretty clean car. There's very little rust, and I'm very, very happy to be giving it the love it deserves. At the moment, as I've said, nothing really removed. I'm resisting the temptation to start pulling the engine out already because I want to get all the suspension off, front, rear, underneath, and I'm going to be kind of doing a resto sort of mod thing with this. So the plan is to get it stripped down completely, get all the suspension components powder coated, and rebuild this up from the ground up using all the lessons that I've learned throughout my years working on cars, and a few of the lessons that I've learned working as a classic car restorer, which is what I've been doing for the last nearly year and a half now. I can't believe it. Okay, so one of the reasons I bought this car is because it's basically a one owner car, and it looked, although a bit rough on the outside, like it didn't have any rust underneath. I've never had the side skirts off. Fuck me, this is why I fucking bought this car, man. Check this out. This is nearly a 30-year-old car now. Next year this car's going to be 30 years old. And it is absolutely as fresh as the day it came out of factory. Oh man. Chuffed to bits. Sweet. Right, there's the inner wheel arch. Let's take off this shite that, if you're a Honda guy, you'll know normally causes the rust. There's such little amount of rust. There's a tiny spot there. Can't even focus. Man. This is making me a happy boy. Sweet as a nut, man. Look at that. Okay, so I've got a side stripped. That's the sort of thing I'm talking about, getting powder coated. So obviously the upright, the fork, the lower wishbone and the upper wishbone. Obviously they need stripped, bearings need to be taken out, ball joints taken out, bushes, blah 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 blah. Just want to show you, 30-year-old car nearly. All these bolts have come out nice and easy, nothing too difficult. Even the split pins I've managed to get out with a set of hand tools. I've got nothing fancy here tonight. This is why I'm doing this, guys. So all we've got is a drive shaft, which is not going to be used again, hence the fact it's just leaning, track rod end and a brake caliper. I'm not ready to take the fluids out yet, so feels pretty good. And it's coming apart way easier than I expected, to be frank. I know I'm a BMW guy, guys, but I was a Honda guy, and this reminds me of why I was a Honda guy, and it's kind of going the way I want it to go. So I'm a chuffed, happy lad, man. Already sent my mates some pictures of this to share the love. Right, sweet, I'm going to shut up here, carry on. Small Civic update. We've been working for about an hour and a half, and I have a pile of brackets. I've got a radiator. I have a growing pile of stuff to probably throw out, but I'm not entirely sure yet. Clutch line maybe keep, but the rest of it can go. Airbox assembly, resonator, man. It's been a long time since I've seen one of them. And yes, a much more empty engine bay. Obviously, I'm not just stripping this to get the engine out. I'm taking everything out because I'm painting the bay. So I'm going to strip everything you can see here basically, except for the main loom that goes back into the car at the corner there. All the engine obviously is going to come out, and it'll get cleaned up. Apart from that, not much else to talk about. I've just been getting the fluids out of her, getting coolant and brake fluid, clutch fluid out, and moving the project along. It's going to get pretty cold here soon, so I'm trying to do as much as I can before then, and I want to get stuff powder coated fairly soon, so let's keep grinding. Be close to you. Just rolled out of bed on a Sunday morning, chilling, listening to Richard Carpenter, talking to Michael Ball, BBC Radio 2. There you go, fucking epic, mate. I thought I'd update you. Another day in the garage, bit more strippage going on. Let's show you. Engine is basically, well, the oil cap's fucking loose. That's great, isn't it? Jesus Christ, Paul. Right, engine is loose. She's only hanging on the side mounts and is ready to come out, but I have to deliver these wheels that came off the FTO down to the south coast this week, so I'm going to wait to get them out of the way. So I've got somewhere to put this. All the suspension is out the car. There's nothing at all in the wheel well, apart from a brake caliper and a track rod end. Exhaust is off, that's going in the bin. Fucking rotten, man. I went her up here in the north, completely ate this thing, and I just bodged the shite out of it to keep me in the road for a little bit. Look. Mega bodge. Lovely empty wheel arch. So everything is off basically. What I've been trying to do is get the hole underneath of the car completely empty, get the fuel tank out. Hello, large hole. So the only thing that's under here now is handbrake cables, brake and fuel lines, a little bit of wiring, I think. That's about it. I just still can't get over how clean this fucking car is, man. Let's see if I can illustrate it. Inside wheel arch is mint. There's nothing wrong with it. It just needs a wash and more protection, because it ain't going to stay like that, you know, let's be realistic. You know, these pockets normally are a nightmare. Absolutely nothing wrong with them. Jacking pad, solid as a rock. The bolt for the tow arm, no problem, came out fine. You ever watched an Eric Car Guy video, he has to cut holes in this to get it all apart. No such fun for me, sadly, just undid it. Not much to say over this side. Charcoal canister and evap kit's all going to go. So we'll be venting that through a filter instead. Underneath the floor, pretty clean where the tank was. Pretty mint, really. Let's get around the other side. Respect to the BMW. Much cleanliness has to stay happening. I'm at pain of death if I get it dirty, but unfortunately it gets dusty in here no matter what. Just moving around makes it dusty. Fuel pipes not too bad. They've got a bit of corrosion on them, which is going to need to be cleaned up and treated. But again, you know, even the fucking backs of the pockets, man, there's a tiny bit of surface here, but there's still metal there, which is shocking for a Honda of this age. Again, around this side, you know, the wheel arches, there's nothing wrong with it, man. Right, nothing. What's going on, man? It's a lucky boy. You know, pockets around this side, immaculate. She's dirty, you know, she just needs a wash. I put a quick amount of Schultz on it last winter, just before driving it for the winter. It's quite a surprising amount of that has come off, but it's done what I wanted it to do. It's made a fucking mess, so it'll all have to be cleaned away, but it's kept it from getting any worse. Now I am at this point, I'm going to tidy up all these fuel lines, some of which will stay exactly as they are, some of them will change. I need to inspect all the brake pipes. I actually think they are fine. This is the near side rear. There is, if it will focus on it, a tiny bit of corrosion just here. And I mean tiny. And the ferrule, or the nut, sorry, needs a clean up. It's a difficult one. I'm mulling this a little bit, because I know they will corrode unless I do something about trying to treat them in some way. And I've got the ability quite easily to make brake lines. You know, it's a piece of cake, like. I've got all the tools for it. I could remake all the brake lines in copper pipe, sort of as close to the original as possible, so that they sit in all the original clips and everything like that. But then, I don't know, you know, it's a lot of work for something that is fine right now, and due to my awareness of brake pipe issues, obviously from the experience that I've got working on cars, you know, I know that changing them for conifer would be probably quite a good idea. It'll save me grief in the long run, but as long as I keep my eye on the ones that are here, you know, what's the point in changing something that's perfectly good? I don't know. I'm going to have to make a call on that, you know. I mean, I'm going in quite deep here, so it's about how deep do you want to go? Balls deep, knees deep, arms and legs deep, entire body deep. I don't know. The interior is just it's a dumping ground basically, so there's not much point showing you much in there. I'll give you a quick glimpse. So welcome to restoration. It's just a boot full of shite and a seat. The actual tank obviously you have to undo from the top. I've got all the arms in the front of the car ready for final disassembly of parts. So there's a couple of things in the trailer arms that want to come off before they go for powder coating. The hub probably mechanism will want to come off. As you can see overall, for me this is a unicorn car, you know, I'm loving it. Taking out parts, coming apart nice and easy, it's not fighting me too much. It's been a long time since I worked properly in a Honda, so some of it I remember, some of it I don't. Really, I love this stuff, this is why I do it, you know. I mean, I spend all week working on cars. I've still got the energy to come home and work on the old girl here. And it's exciting when you get under the skin and you find that, you know, realistically speaking, underneath, which is the hardest bit to fanny around with, it really needs such little amount of TLC. As I'm going around it, you know, there's things I'm thinking about, like brake lines. There are other things that I'm thinking about as I'm going around it. Do I seam or stitch weld some of it? That's something I keep coming back to. It takes lots of puffs to really make a decision on that. I don't know. I'm kind of inclined to want to seam weld it. Maybe at least at the critical points around the suspension and stuff like that to give it that little bit of stiffness. But it's a bit over the top, let's admit it. You know, it's a fun car, it's a passion car. It doesn't need to be as stiff as a rock, and it doesn't need to last repeated batterings. But, you know, who knows what the future might hold, and there's no time better to do it than when it's empty. There's no other time to do it. So do I do that? Maybe something to think about. There's loads of stuff that doesn't really make any sense. Like, let me give an example. These bolt holes here aren't used, there's nothing attached to them, little hook here, and there's similar things on the other side. They could probably be closed up and cleaned up so you don't see them anymore. This front bar here, this front beam, I'm toying with making my own custom one that welds onto the front of the chassis legs out of tubular steel so that it saves a bit of space, is a bit stronger, and I can put the rad tabs in wherever I want. And I'm going to have to move the rad tabs anyway, so the welder's going to have to come out for that, and the welder's going to come out for all the engine mounts, because I'm going to try and make my own engine mounts. I don't know if I mentioned that already. So, you know, if I'm going to be welding, seam welding them, if I'm going to be doing mounts, if I'm going to be, you know, thinking about the bar here, it's fairly easy to make a crossbar that will go across that. And then apart from that, it really just needs a damn good clean and a lot of body work. So it's moving forwards, and we're getting cleaned up. It's really exciting, man. I feel like a kid in a candy shop. I know it's ridiculous. I know a lot of you might have watched the channel for BMW stuff. That excites me. Definitely have a passion for it. But this is where it all began for me, with the little Hondas. And I'll never lose passion for it. I just couldn't, you know. It's a thing that kind of taught me what I really know now, and helped me learn a lot, and, you know, has brought me to the point that I'm at. It got me the job that I've got and everything else that goes along with it. Oh, you guys wouldn't be watching these Pamo videos if it wasn't for that CRX you might have seen in one of my early videos from a while back. Sorry, I'm going to shut up lamenting. It's fucking smarmy. I need to go and have a shower. I need to get myself shitted. I need to go and get a shower. I need to go and get myself sorted out. Formula 1 is on soon, and it is Sunday. I don't know what day it is. The Qatari race is about to happen, and I've just heard from Natalie that Max Verstappen has got a penalty. Christian Horner's kicking off. It's all kicking off for Formula 1. It's totally sweet. Thank fuck that there's actually something to talk about for a change. I love it, but it's a shite sport these days, and it's nice to have something to conversate about. Thanks very much. Let's keep going. I'm going to come back after the Formula 1, probably in a few days' time, when this engine's out, and we'll show you what the bay looks like when she's naked. So where are we at with her? Well, the engine is about to come out today. I've just cleared the space here where the crane is, so I can get that thing out. It's going to go somewhere here at the moment, the engine. All the suspension is off. The wings are now off it. Natalie's taking the wings off and the rear bumper, which I could get around and show you, but as you can see, it's a bit dark down there at the moment. There's no visible damage on this back corner. There'll be more to come on that in the future. stick with this and I'll tell you why next time probably we come and attack the videos. But yes, today everything's loose. We're going to eke this engine out. It's all loose, so as you saw before, she's just wobbling on the side mounts. We're going to have a go, see if we can get it out. There it is then, the mighty 1.5 LSI Honda D-Series engine. Still looks pretty good in here, pretty happy. Obviously this mount's got to come off. There's a lot of holes that I might want to fill, things like these bung holes that don't really serve a purpose. There's maybe seam welding, as I said, that I was going to think about doing. I'm not so sure. I'm going to look at it all in detail and see what I can really play with, what's not worth messing with. A lot of this stuff's going to have to come off the back. All the fuel lines and everything need to be, you know, made differently for the K-Series anyway, so no problems there. And then it will get clean and it'll get painted up. So there we have the Civic without an engine, without suspension, getting more and more naked by the moment. Let's get this naked now and get it cleaned up and see where we're going from here. I don't know if I'll carry on this video or if I'll end this video here and then we'll jump out on another one. Not sure. I'll say Pamo out anyway, just in case. You never know.